And we'll start a new session right now. We'll have some refreshments and then begin in like 5 minutes. So we'll all take a, seat by seat approach to doing that. Just however it makes sense when you get to leave. But so Eliza McGlashan she is an associate of the International Organization of Youth and a student at UCLA, and she's going to be leading this next session. All right, so thank you.
So it makes you feel easier about it. I'm good. I'm only trying to check safe. You're one of these already stopped.
Regular.
Well, it has to be connected though. The device itself does not recognize it.
Yeah, it's the other device that you have to plug in that it connects automatically. I don't know why the Type-C connection did not work. It might be that because I'll explain.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for 10 minutes delay start because we are trying to stream this event live on TV and now we're live. Sorry for technical difficulties. So, my name is Ali Mustafa, and I would like to welcome you all to this side event of the ECOSOC Youth Forum 2025. I want to know with a show of hands, how many of you this is first time attending the ECOSOC Youth Forum? Okay, wow, great, great. This is my eighth because um, we work with you very closely, and the side event today is all about the youth inclusion. Little about me and the organization. My name is Ali Mustafa, and I am the CEO and the founder of the International Organization of Youth. It was founded in 2019 with the UN Department of Global Communication and UN Habitat with the sole purpose of engaging young people and reaching the young people out in Global South and engaging them with the UN, bringing their voices, bringing their opinions, and either virtually or in person to the forums like these, forum like high-level forums, and forums like UN General Assembly. Since then, we have been doing a good job in engaging people directly with the UN, and we are continuously evolving, working with different UN agencies like IOM, UNICEF, UNESCO, UN Environment Program, now United Nations Research, UN Geneva, and continuously engaging a lot of young people like you with the UN system. Besides that, in my personal capacity, I'm also the advisor for the steering committee for UN Department of Global Communication. Previously have been the co-chair of the same committee. This event where you are present is like the part of the series of events we are having, This is one event having, we're gonna have late lunch after that, and then we're gonna have the panel, one panel right now, the one panel after the lunch, and then we have workshop and also the evening reception as well as take place here with some music and stuff at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This side event is we are here to discuss two topics and two agendas that we have here that we discuss. And one is the gender equality and the inclusion of women in everything that we do. And we will have a fantastic panel on that. And then the second panel is partnerships, the most important topic because if we don't have partnerships, we're not able to do good things, especially when these events are happening. These are really the conversations that are taking place, but then the real action starts with the partnerships when we have partners and we go on ground and make SDGs a reality. So you will be here. We will also have an open mic. You will get an opportunity to speak, and we are streaming everything live right now. I'd like to welcome you. And next, I would like to give a floor to one of our youth delegate, Tesari from International Organization of Youth, so she can give you an introduction, and then we're going to start the panel after that. Tesari.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tisri Vidanakamage, and I'm a first-year international student studying economics at UCLA. I'm honored to be here today at the ECOSOC Youth Forum representing the International Organization of Youth, IOI, an incredible community I joined just 2 months ago as an associate intern. In this short time, I've had the privilege of working alongside passionate and purpose-driven individuals as we organize the upcoming 11th International Youth Conference, which will be held from the 1st of May to the 4th. So if you're interested in youth-led change and advocacy, please do register for it. You can participate online or in person. And it's been a whirlwind of creativity, collaboration, and learning, and that's what has brought me here today. As someone from Sri Lanka and from the Global South, standing here in a space where voices like mine have not always been heard is a deeply meaningful moment. Because this forum isn't just another event. It's a powerful reminder of what's possible when youth from every corner of the world come together, not just to speak, but to be heard, not just to be included, but to lead. As we gather today, and over the next 2 days, under the theme Youth at the Forefront, Leveraging Science and Social Inclusion for Sustainable Development, I want to start by posing a simple yet powerful question. What does the world look like when youth are not just participating, but truly leading? And I believe that the very theme of today's event begins to answer that. Youth action advancing gender equality, innovation, and global partnerships isn't just a title, it's a call to action. It reflects our collective efforts to push forward SDG 5 on gender equality, SDG 8 on decent work and economic growth, and SDG 17 on global partnerships. So take a moment to picture this. Young women redesigning economies to be more inclusive. Grassroots innovators creating local solutions with global resonance, and youth-led movements standing up, speaking out, and holding the world accountable to its promises under the SDGs. That world, it's not just a dream. It's already taking shape, and the builders are all of you. Yet, despite this momentum, we know the road ahead is very steep. Structural inequalities persist. Gender disparities continue to silence millions. Economic systems often exclude rather than empower. And global decision-making tables still lack the voices of young people, especially those from marginalized communities. But here's the truth. The greatest untapped resource in the fight for sustainable development is not money or power, it's us, the youth. It's our ideas, our drive, our digital fluency, and our radical reimagination of what's possible, and all of this are keys to unlocking a better future. And that's why this side event matters, because today we're not just going to be sharing stories, we're shaping strategies. We're not just spotlighting problems, but we're co-creating solutions. From showcasing entrepreneurship that centers justice to forging global partnerships that actually include youth at the table, not as tokens, but as equal partners. This session is a space to make real change. So let us begin with courage, speak with clarity, and challenge the status quo. And above all, let us remember that this room is not the conclusion of our efforts. It's the starting point of the future that we are building together. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce our first panel of the day, Young Women on Policymaking for Economic Empowerment. This timely and impactful conversation will be led by Kelly Chris, the Vice President of the International Organization of Youth. Kelly is a Brooklyn-based multidisciplinary storyteller whose work spans fiction, investigative journalism, and audio. Her bylines include the New York Times, Rolling Stone, and Long Reads, and her work often explores trauma, gender, and human complexity, and she is also known for the hidden toll of the Golden State Killer. Not just that, Kelly is also the co-founder of the internationally touring rock band named the Rosebuds. She holds an MFA from Columbia University and advises Fortune 100 brands, artists, and NGOs on strategic, purpose-driven storytelling. I am certain that this panel will spark action, collaboration, and lasting change. Kelly, over to you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Chris. Hello. So nice to see everybody. So friendly faces. All right, could I have my panelists come up, please? Okay, great. So this panel is called Young Women in Policymaking and Economic Empowerment. I'm Kelly Chris, and my panel here are, we've got these brilliant young women here today with us. This is Gemma and Gaga and Nino over here on the far end. Okay, so I'm a writer, a journalist, and a performing artist, and of course, vice president of the International Organization of Youth. And I spent my career on the page and on the stage and in strategy rooms following one general basic question. What does it mean to take agency back through story? You're gonna have to author your own stories. I've written lyrics and stories about women and trauma, about the unbearable, unbelievable choices that people make and when the world really gives you no good option. I've written from that place where things can't be undone, but must still be lived through. And from that place, again and again, I've found women, especially young women, doing, the radical work of becoming and establishing agency. So here we are together today in a room built for decision makers in policy-making spaces like the United Nations and beyond, talking about exactly that. This panel is about power and agency, not just the kind you fight for or the kind that you speak truth to, but the kind you grow into, the kind you claim quietly at first, when you walk into rooms not built for you. Then louder, when you realize the policy isn't just broken, it just wasn't written for you. It wasn't written with you in mind. Policy is not neutral. Okay, policy has fingerprints. It reveals the stories. The stories that matter in policy are the ones written by the people who are writing it, right? Those are the people that it reflects interest in. Whoever was there when the policy was made, that's who it's for. So that's why this matters. Because young women in policymaking aren't just participating, okay? They're reauthoring. They're saying it's time the global economy reflects our realities, our ambitions, and our right to thrive. And make no mistake, when young women shape policy, they don't just bring representation. They create That's what we do when we create results. They write toward futures that include more of us. And today we'll hear from leaders who are doing just that in real time through diplomacy, advocacy, entrepreneurship, and sheer force of vision. So I'd like to introduce my panel now. Let's hear from each of you. So this is Cemre. Okay, Cemre Ilker. She's a human rights expert. And we have Nino here on the end. Nino is from Adelphi University. She's a youth leader in the International Organization of Youth and also a debate expert. And Gaga Dong is the CEO of Love and Future and a student at Columbia University right now. My alma mater. It's so nice to have you here with us today. Is this on now? How about now? Yes?
But you gotta go for
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Cemre Ilker, representative of the Journalists and Writers Foundation to the United Nations Department of Global Communications. I unfortunately no longer am fitting into the formal definition of young professionals below the age of 32, but still delighted to be among this vibrant and energetic crowd. And many thanks to Ali Mustafa for his kind invitation and convening us on the sideline of the ECOSOC Youth Forum. Well, as a human rights advocate, I work on the intersectionality of state-led violations, some of the increasing trends of autocratic regimes, and how it impacts our fundamental freedoms of all forms. And I would like to start with an acknowledgement of the fact that given the high peak of all forms of conflicts on a global scale, climate crisis, setbacks in democratic governance, loss of trust in multilateral systems, really, and the latest emerging challenges of our day, only about 17% of the SDGs display a significant improvement, only about 17, to meet their projection line, and another 18% indicate a stagnation. 17 even regressed below its baseline of 2015 levels. This is not to be in a bad position. This acknowledgement really helps us to work on better policymaking because we do have to know the reality of our communities, what conditions that we are thriving to ensure that we are having equal access to practice our fundamental human rights. And this alarming state cannot be reversed without ensuring women's and young professionals' meaningful participation in all spheres of life, peace and security, sustainable development, and surely economic prosperity. This year, the Commission on the Status of Women, which was recently concluded, it focused on the review of the Beijing Declaration. As it is first time for most of my friends, colleagues in the room, I would love to raise some awareness on this as well. It's one of the most primary footprints setting the global agenda for women and girls empowerment. And women and the economy was included as one of its 12 thematic areas. And on this occasion of this critical review, UN Women recently published a report entitled Beijing Plus 30 Action Agenda. This is a great report with wonderful infographics. Please check it out. And it has 6+1 notion, some key actions to advance gender equality through women at the heart of the discussion. So it pushes for sustainable economic development, bridging the digital gender gap, ending violence against women, advancing women's leadership in decision-making, increasing accountability in peace and security, and lastly, of course, striving for climate justice. And the +1 is very important and resonates with the audience today because it's the critical inclusion of youth leadership in this effort. So therefore, as a like-minded community on the sidelines of this critical meeting at the United Nations, we should push towards keeping member states accountable to keep their promises in line with the international human rights bodies. And in the second portion of my talk, I would like to present some very key data and statistics recently released by UN Women. So out of 190 economies assessed in 2023, more than 1/3 of those have laws constraining, limiting women's decision to work in patriarchal regimes. And even 43 of those member states have no laws on preventing sexual harassment in workplace. So gender gap in the entrepreneurship cycle remains a prominent obstacle, demonstrating many barriers unresolved. And starting a business is not only the issue, but keeping it sustainable is a poverty trap. And I would love to acknowledge this fact that violence against women and girls in the workplace has no relation to age, location, income, or social status. Thus, the economic cost of this harassment is about $6 trillion annually. Another important takeaway highlight is shared by LinkedIn data. So for the past 8 years, it shows that women increased its representation in leadership positions, but to a very limited degree. It was about 30% of the share in 2016 and only raised to 32 by the year of 2023. And globally, as we see more women and young girls, young women keeping up for the entry-level positions, we see a critical fall, a short representation in the C-suite roles, referring to the executive leadership positions in the companies. So women's and young professionals, political leadership, one of the focus areas that I grew my expertise in, it's detrimental, incredibly important, because trailblazer young professionals, women are leading, must lead political actions, because there are dozens of human rights agreements that member states are being committed to, but as long as they are not implemented, we are still thriving in the same deteriorating situation. So in order to really realize leaving no one behind, the motto of SDGs, the guideline of United Nations, we should all be striving for political change in our communities through peaceful and democratic means as well. So I'll just put it in here and looking forward to contribute later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? How's the energy in the room?
Yeah, good.
This is not good. I want to hear you. How's the energy? Where's the youth? I love that. So as Kelly already said, my name is Nina Burjanadze. I am an international student from Georgia. I am a political science student at Adelphi University, so I'll be graduating in May. I started working with IYC my sophomore year when I was Adelphi University's youth representative to the United Nations. So I'm really, really passionate about youth's involvement with policymaking. And I think what we have here in this room today is genuinely really beautiful. So my big thanks to Kelly, the whole IYC team, Ali, for giving us a platform and giving me personally a platform to be here and speaking to all of you and learning from incredible young women here. About 32 is not old. It's just so bad competition. Before we open the panel for more discussions and questions, I believe it will be helpful to share some statistics that already were mentioned, just to understand the gender disparity in policymaking and women's economic involvement. These statistics are, I think, very easy to comprehend and provide us with a general overview of how far we are from achieving SDGs. And I don't mean to be a negative Nancy. This is not something that I'm excited about, but I think it's also really, to echo Cambria, I think it's really important to comprehend where we are today. So as of January 2025, there are only 25 countries in the world where 28 women serve as heads of state and government. And at the current rate, gender equality in the highest positions of power will not be reached for another 130 years. That's a really long time. At the current rate of progress, gender parity in national legislative bodies will not be achieved before 2063. It is estimated that closing the gender gap could provide the global economy a $7 trillion boost. So women's participation in economy is actually a really positive thing. Statistically, countries and regions that have bigger and more economic opportunities for women results in having the best economies in the world. So this also showcases why women's participation in economy and their empowerment is very, very beneficial for the general economy of the whole nation and the region. These are just some of the statistics that I found really interesting. You can look this up on UN Women. They provide amazing statistics. And to close like my part of introduction, I just want us to do a little exercise. So let's imagine a house, a new house that we just bought, right? Maybe you did this knowledge beforehand. But we're so excited to enter to this house and we just find out that there's a really big crack in the foundation. We didn't know this before. And it's our job to fix this crack, otherwise this whole house is gonna fall off on our head. When I think about different social issues, political issues, economic issues as a young person, I find myself in this house, standing right before this crack. It was not my problem, it was not my fault that this crack was created, it was before me, but it is our job as a young generation, as Gen Z, to fix this crack, otherwise we basically don't have a future. And I'm genuinely so proud that all of you are here, and I'm very, very excited to have this conversation with you. And it is us who are going to be the change makers. And thank you for being here, and I'm looking forward to this incredible conversation. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be there. I'm Ge Dong. I'm the PhD student in politics and education from Columbia University, and I'm also the founder and CEO of the Love and Future. Actually, I'm already feel very excited to hear our two speakers' amazing discussion about the gender issues and also the economic development. And also right now, just to give us a little bit of energy. Are you excited? All the young generations? Yeah. Okay, let's start. So, because today is for your time, right? And this is a global youth forum, so this is your stage. So it's my pleasure to be here, and I love to share a little bit more about my stories with the Love and Future team. So, Love and Future is a youth lead NGO founded in the New York City, and we are working for the intersection of the climate education, policy, and the youth empowerment. So I come from a movement that believes that economic development must be reimagined. And not just to talk about around something capital growth or some interest profile, right? We have to think these issues more broader, like to think about the economic development to be include for the care, the justice, and also the collective power. So a future where the young women are not just the beneficiaries, but also the change makers of our global world. That would be very powerful. So over the last decades, actually, I have worked with the Youth Central project across more than 20 countries. And it includes governments, NGOs, business sectors, and also schools. We are supporting the rural girls in China and also training the youth entrepreneurs in Indonesia and facilitating the climate action project from the New York City to Cambodia. And every step of this way, I have witnessed the same truth, that when young women are trusted with power, they don't just change their lives, they change everything. So that's why we founded the Love and Future and to support the young generations, especially women and girls globally. And recently we have the members across 11 countries. And the leadership that's over 90% are women and young ladies. So yeah. And welcome to join the Love and Future. I mean, all the young people. Okay. So our team includes digital experts, researchers, and educators. They are coming from all the different backgrounds. Well, we have the same goal is to continue to working on the systems and the policy together because we believe in the power of the collaboration. So in just 2 years, we have reached out to more than 3,000 students globally, and we are doing the storytelling workshops, vocational training programs, climate change education, and global policy dialogues. Beyond for this part, we also build something deeper, like the community, confidence, and the courage. Because we know this, why we are talking about the policy, right? Why it is so important. So because we believe in the power of the policy. The policy shapes who lives are prioritized, whose dreams are funded, and whose futures are protected. So, but we just hear about our speakers. We have provided the issues here. A lot of the young women and girls globally, we are still underrepresented in the rooms where these decisions are made. So at the level of the future, we are changing that situation right now. We run programs that incorporate the 21st century skills, include like critical thinking, leadership, and also the entrepreneurship skills, right? And with the policy literacy and the political education together. So our mission now just to teach our young people today. They are already well educated. They know what they are doing, and they just need the support and the opportunities to support them to be succeed. So through the intergenerational dialogue today and also across our multi-stakeholder collaboration, we help young generations step into their roles as co-creators of policy, because true economic development starts with structural transformation. But the transformation, we know that doesn't happen by chance, right? It happens when we invest, use the young generation with equity, with intention, and with trust in young people, they can do the leadership roles. So when we give the women and young girls now just, microphones or just not just include their dialogue, but the decision-making stage, that's the power. So we are not just sitting at the table today, we are coming to here to explore the actionable solutions and to find the tools to redesign our structures today. So today I would like to challenge all of us, let's move beyond symbolic inclusion. Let's start building shared power. That means we need more investment in the civic education across all the levels in schooling. We also need the gender responsive policies that's rooted in equity and care. And we also need the institutionalizing like the youth co-governance where young women can be the leaders. Because when we trust the young generation to legislate, negotiation, and innovative, we unlock a new kind of the economy, one that surrounds on inclusion, sustainability, and love. I believe everyone already, we have heard about this sentence for a long while, like when you empower a woman, you empower a generation. And when youth lead, and the future gonna be changed. So I'm so proud of to join this journey with you all together here. Let's move to the action stage and build the world for all to survive. So I appreciate for this opportunity and to meet all the young generations and keep continue in our discussion today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Something you were just saying is that, the symbolic inclusion is just not the way. It has to be like real representation, real policy making, and, like we've all said here, structural and foundational changes that are underway. We're seeing these actions now. And I mean, this is a great representation of that right here. A lot of folks in this audience have taken agency. So Kamra is a Journalists and Writers Foundation UN representative, yes, to the Department of Global Communications, and a human rights expert leading global development initiatives and implementation. So in the Sustainable Development Goals, and you spoke about that a little, when your work intersects journalism, human rights, advocacy, so I'm curious in your experience, media especially, how can a lot of us have access to media and transformative storytelling? So how can media and storytelling be utilized to shift the civil political rights of young people in general, young women? And can you speak to the impacts on policy that might have?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a terrific question that really aligns with what all of us has shared in this room. And violence really starts in the media discourse. As we monitor more undemocratic regimes moving towards being a hybrid and then authoritarian leadership positions, the transition in between, we see that political leaders are grasping the control over social media first. because this past year, according to the Freedom House, it was the 14th consecutive year in decline of our fundamental freedoms online. So not only that mainstream media is under a very heavy state control, nowadays even our fundamental access to credible, independent information on social media is on a very dreadful situation. So another important statistics, I love sharing these numbers because it really gives us a very transparent view of where we're standing today. As of last year, about 70% of the global population, 70%, this is a huge number, they are living in states where they are subjected to either imprisonment or detention because of their tweets or any other form of social media engagement, expressing their rightful, peaceful, cultural identities, gender identities, religious beliefs, and political discussions. So even getting engaged in what we call as global partnerships or open dialogue, inclusion, these are under threat in so many of these countries over social media platforms. And on the other side of this negative coin, this shows us a great potential. What is that? Let's go back to a couple years before the Women Life Freedom Movement was led by young women, right? We see an increasing, incredible risk over social media platform. The Mahsa Amini hashtag was used over millions times in Twitter, and really changed the course of how state-led regimes' violations was perceived at the United Nations as well. Another important example is the Ending Gender Apartheid campaign. Another incremental, globally recognized human rights advocacy movement led by Afghan women, Uyghur women was on board, Iranian women, and the mission is changing the discourse on social media so that more people are aware of apartheid regimes and how it impacts women and girls' participation in peace and security, economic life, social engagements, and so forth. So it's very critical that we as conscious global citizens also know what to retweet, have an open eye on being able to recognize AI-generated information, read the scripts fully, read the articles fully before we disseminate in our networks. So as we get to practice more of these consciously engaging on social media platforms, I think we all have, as everyday citizens living in different or leading different professional backgrounds, we all have a great responsibility to being cautiously active in human rights advocacy.
Right. Yes, please do.
Just to add on to that great question about representation, just to share something that I watched a couple of weeks ago. It was a small little, like maybe a 3 or 4-year-old girl watching the Olympics, where a woman was, she was like heavy lifting, and she was like, oh my God, she's so strong. And I just it just came to my mind because representation does matter. And now we are doing this panel, I'm thinking, oh, maybe a little girl is gonna come across this panel and think, oh, like one day maybe I can do that when I grow up. So I think that's why it's so important to have more women bodies in the policymaking, the governance, in banks, in high positions, because small girls are going to see them and they are going to think, oh my God, like she looks so good, like I want to be like her one day. So that's why I just wanted to add on to that representation does matter. It's a phrase that we see often, but just that little small video of a young girl looking at her hands and saying, oh, like my hands are small, but her hands are so big and strong. It's just a beautiful message. So yeah, just a little thought.
Yes, I love that. There's so much agency in recognizing yourself and another person who is, doing the thing. Yeah, I love this. I'm from North Carolina, and we have this state motto. It is "Esse quam videre," and it translates to be rather than to seem. And I think that it starts with being able to see others who are, leading that way. Yeah, that's an excellent point. So Nino, to your work, so you're what are some of the global practices and initiatives that help women's empowerment in politics and economy? And I'm thinking about, you mentioned Gen Z. what can Gen Z do to remedy the foundational cracks that you mentioned? While you're still living in the house, and you have to live in it for a little while, right? And so what are some of the kind of global practices and initiatives?
So that's a great question. So there are a lot. I mean, Love and Future, I think, is a great example, and we here have a representative who can share how impactful the organization can be to thousands of women across the globe. But some of the practices that I've heard about, that I've interacted with, like one of them, I think, is an exemplary case of Rwanda. Rwanda is actually the first state that has the majority of women in their parliament. 63% of the Rwanda's parliament are women. I think that is a little applause, because we need to see that more often. And what they did in Rwanda is that in 2003, they basically introduced a 30% quota, that in every state or policymaking body there must be 30% women, and that really encouraged more women to apply, more women to feel empowered. So I think that's one of the ways that young women can be seen, young women can be encouraged, because the state is basically encouraging you to put yourself out there. Because as women, I mean, to speak to myself, we experience a lot of self-doubt. We don't really get told that, oh, like, you're doing great. We always have to prove ourselves. We have to do way more than we're expected to do. So I think, having those encouragements, having those incentives from the community, from your national government is, I think, very powerful. Speaking of the youth and how young people and how young women can create such programs, I think when we talk about policies, it's not only the government's job to create those spaces for women. And I think what you do genuinely is great, and it's inspirational. And there are different initiatives that I came across with. One of them I actually learned about in India when I went there in January. This is called CSR, Center on Social Research. Is a nonprofit organization, mostly led with women. And what they do is that they create different workshops. They provide tools to young girls who don't really have access to higher education, and they actually go to the local communities in rural areas where they don't really have access to the internet or the resources we have right here. And they basically educate them on different financial literacy. So they're setting up for a better future. In India, it's still a very, very big issue, young marriage, arranged marriages. So by giving women that financial dependency is not only solving one issue, and is not only creating spaces for women in the economy, but actually solving a bigger issue, actually giving women the tools to determine their own fate. So I think those are some of the examples that I think are worth mentioning.
Great, excellent. And I was just thinking of Gaga, as the founder and a scholar, a CEO, and your work spans the innovation, leadership, long-term systems thinking approach to change. What are some of the emerging strategies in tech that you know about, education, entrepreneurship, that are moving the needle towards gender equality in the global economy? I know that Love and Future works in this territory, so yeah.
Thank you so much for these great questions. Why we are here today, right? We are not just about the individual, because of the partnership, because of the global collaboration. So I believe that today's Love and Future can support a lot of young people. In another way, is because a lot of young people to support our vision together, and we have the same goal. So it doesn't matter from the local level or to the global level. I love we have to talk about the statistics to make the information more transparency, and also to provide the accessible resources to all our young women and also the young leaders. So I believe, for example, basically on my case as a social entrepreneur, and supporting the youth entrepreneurship is not just about to launching startups. It's about creating systems where young people can build solutions from the future they will inherit. We also talk about the technology and the digital stuff, and we are living in a digital world. So it doesn't matter about the one page technology includes AI or blockchain, Web3. And all these tools, we just have to think to provide the equal access to the women and also girls, and especially like people who are from the marginalized communities. So, like way to say, like still like for the globally too many like young entrepreneurs, especially for women and girls, they still lack of the access to capital and limited the mentorship and the exclusion from the policy space. And these are now challenges any one country to solve this problem. They need work power together. This is we are just mentioning about the collective power for today. We have to work together through the partnership. So that's why I do really love to mention something about like don't do something like symbolic partnership or symbolic inclusion. We have to do something really actionable, really can do to do something to move forward. So that's one about the shift power to show the resources and opportunities to all to access. So I would love to maybe just share the 3 ideas like basically on my experience to how we support the young generation to succeed in their future entrepreneurship if they are interested in. The first thing, I still believe that we need to build the ecosystem. So we must move beyond short-term funding or just one-off training. Young entrepreneurs, especially for women and girls, they need integrated support, include the policy, the legal protections, cross-border funding, mentorship, and the digital stuff, of course. And these also efforts should cross the government, business sectors, NGOs, academic institutions, and all the different stakeholders. And then we can create more and more opportunities to build a very, sustainable ecosystem. So the second thing I believe also important to think about the inclusion and the co-creation. Too often the policies are made for youth, are made for young people. There are too much talk about, okay, young people are our futures, but we have to bring them on the table at the state, the decision-making stage, make them to make the policy, not just to let them to talk about policy. So we have to invite young people, for example, in Love on the Future, we are invite our young generations team, especially for women, indigenous youth, and also those from the marginalized communities, use the storytelling as a way to share their challenges and what the local solutions we can provide, right? So we are create for the policy designs and also for our curriculum. And the third thing I would love to say, because we talk about from the global level, and the global level has a very large structure. But if we want to do something, we succeed at the local level, we must transform the global structures into the local action. So the third thing I would just say, like young entrepreneurs are already build climate solutions, education tech, and also care-based economics. And I believe in this room already have so many young talent. They already do something amazing. So just give them the opportunity to present and to show their case studies, show their voices, and show their power. And what they need to support the opportunities and the platforms. So I would say let's invest in youth-based projects. Trust them they can lead, and also partner with them globally to connect with the local, especially from the grassroots energy with the global platforms. So, because entrepreneurship today is not just about the economic, especially for our young generation. It's about a part of our human rights, it's civic. So let's make sure the next generation, especially women and girls, aren't waiting for opportunities. We are creating opportunities together. Thank you.
Okay, so right now we would love to open this up to the floor for questions. If anyone has some questions for our panel here. Policymaking for economic development, partnerships, and really beyond. Over here, this gentleman.
I hear y'all speak about esports for gaming. It's a lot of girl gamers, and I feel like it needs to be embraced. I am an esports pioneer back where I live at. I help my school district build 6 esports labs. I help my city government. It's a pillar now in my community. And I've actually had Epic Games give an educational session on how to develop games. And it's a $32 billion company. I had access to it in one of the, I say the second worst city for economic development for African Americans in America. So I would like to hear what you ladies think about gaming and how it can empower women.
I would love to hear, Gaga, would you speak to that?
Sure. Thank you for this amazing question, and I also appreciate your also contribution and effort to support women through the games. Because actually, Love and Future also have one project regarding for the game-based education to support all the young generations to better understand sustainability of through the games. And also in the women's role, I mean, like just we have mentioned today, like they can do everything successful and just come from the different like background. So I mean like we are living in a digital world, and the games is definitely very powerful and an interesting project for I mean great pathway to support the young women, especially like girls, because we can develop different types of the games and to meet the different requirements based according the different like personal background. So I can provide a case study from the Love and Future. Like last year, we built a game regarding the storytelling. So we invited all the actually the designer for the game. Most of them are women and girls. And this storytelling, they are to design something about the culture, about the community, and about their career path. Like to use this kind of the game interconnected with sustainability goals, but they can also develop more different pathways in their career to encourage the young women like you can be a scientist and you can be the any role in your life. So I mean like this is just a small part of the storytelling plus game and to present a big version of our future sustainability. But I more than happy also to learn about your project in the future, how we empower the young generation together.
Question that I have kind of similar to his, but from the artistic point of view. What are the ways because the youth and women, the youth and the women in general,